Bro, how's it going? I just wanted to make another video today. I like the last one we did where I didn't edit anything and it got a lot of views and it's the best comments I've ever got. And it seems like a lot of you guys just relate to these candid, open talks. So I want to come again and speak directly to you and just speak from the heart, speak what I have in mind. And in this video, I want to speak about two things that have kind of come to mind that are obscure ways that traders don't ordinarily think. But I think to go from good trader to great trader, there are so many qualities that people don't consider. So many traits and things we have to do to go from good to great. Now, let me give you an analogy. So a good trader is someone who's profitable, right? And that's what you think about. Let's say I'm making 4% a month return. I'm a very good trader. My win rate is good. My risk reward is good. Everything seems under control. And you know that statement, ignorance is bliss, where especially when everything is going fine, everything is good, you don't really think to investigate. You don't really think to dig deeper. And I feel like a lot of traders reach this place, specifically traders who refuse to journal and refuse to document, not from a place of arrogance. Let me rephrase that. Not from a place of there's problems, so let me solve it. Because if they're profitable, you automatically think profitable equals everything is fine. And what you don't realize is the blind inefficiencies, your opportunity costs. Let's say for example, I'm investing in a business, or let's say I invested in a football team and my team is winning every game, and therefore I'm doing well in my league. Now, let's say I spent some money and paid for a better coach, paid for better nutritionist, and paid for a better gym, and paid for better players to come on board. With better managerial, better diet, and better everything, you could still be winning the games, but you would dominate those games better. Meaning to say that winning the games was not necessarily an indicator of upper echelon performance and mastery. So when it comes to trading, the barometer or the litmus test for being profitable equals everything fine is not necessarily the approach. Now, I'm obviously not speaking to everyone here because a lot of people are not profitable, but I think embodying the traits and embodying the mindset of somebody that is a great trader, even if you're just average or below average, if you start to act and feel and think like a great trader, you can start to obviously ascend to that level. So I think when traders don't journal and they think everything is fine, it is actually arrogance. I misspoke. It is arrogance and ignorance because they think everything is okay, I'm profitable, so what do I need to do? And I was in that stage too, only a few years back, where I was profitable and I was very set in my ways because I thought, well, if I'm profitable and only 5% of traders become profitable, then I've kind of achieved it. And if I had stagnated in my ways of thinking back then, I would have been stuck at the level that I was. And that was more in the sense of back then I was very scattered in my approach, scattered in my technical, scattered in my mindset. And even though I was profitable, I was a good trader, not a great trader. And the manifestations of that, how that's actually led to tangible changes, is I used to be trading every single currency pair, or every Sunday night. I would do a watch list. I'd scan the market for everything. I'd look for prime setups, pro trend that were probably going to be intraday to swing opportunities, and I'd be all over the place seeking the best opportunities. And that was actually quite good because I could filter from 20 currency pairs and I could filter 3 best opportunities, execute on 1 or 2, hold them for a swing and get a 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 30. And that was my way of trading. And little did I realize how much of a effect would my non-mastery of intra-session time frame, non-mastery of my emotions, because let's say I'm holding a trade and I'm 20% up and then I face a deep retracement and then it goes all the way to my final take profit, which was a 1 to 30. I was holding a 1 to 20 risk reward, maybe without even taking a partial, allowing that full 20% gain to come to break even just for the sake of maybe gaining an extra 10%. So let's say my opportunity cost of holding the trade, I might be 20% up. So I would be thinking, well, I've only risked 1% in this trade, so I'm 20% up. It gives me shudders, like why did I used to think like this? I was thinking to gain an extra 10%, which was my final TP, I would hold full volume to my final TP. So I was looking in that moment, my opportunity cost was I'm looking to gain 10%, but I'm willing to forego the 20% unrealized profit that I have. So it's actually not looking at the 1% risk I initially had. It's what I have on the table in terms of floating P&L and what I'm willing to let go of for an extra 10% gain. So I realized I'm risking 20% of unrealized profit to gain 10%. I had a negative risk reward. My mindset was, when I'm taking these deep retracements and I've gone from profit to now in a retracement, that emotion would hit me and I'll make rash decisions. Maybe I would quickly take a partial in the retracement moments, and then price would go in my favor anyway. So I'd taken a profit in an unoptimized place. And then when you look deeper, when I started to journal and investigate more, I started to realize so many insights. For example, I was on certain currency pairs like GJ, I was just not profitable. On certain days of the week, if I was buying on a Thursday, which was not a fact, it was just a period of time for a couple of months, buying on Thursdays was vastly unprofitable for me. GJ was vastly unprofitable for me. Trading certain hours of the day during a London session was not profitable for me. And if I had not journaled, I would not have come to these conclusions. Even though I was profitable at the end of the month, if I eliminated certain currency pairs, if I eliminated certain trade types, if I eliminated certain hours of the day and just kept refining, I would not have had the breakthroughs to go from good to, in my opinion, great. And it's through that process of understanding your bottlenecks, understanding where you're going wrong, understanding where you need to optimize despite being profitable. Meaning, if people are too fixated on the outcome, you don't appreciate the process. And it's always something a trader should have in their mind of appreciate the journey, not the outcome. You should follow the right steps and the outcome will come. And it's that kind of thinking that carries people through life. The people that are, let's say Ronaldo, for example, you compare Ronaldo's age and then Wayne Rooney's age. They were playing at Man United together, similar age. You look at Wayne Rooney's physique now. You look at his face, like it's so swollen. You look at his, success in his career. And he was a phenomenal player at the time. And you compare him to Ronaldo, who was equally a phenomenal trader, but now they're getting older. Ronaldo is still in peak performance, peak athletic condition, equally as disciplined as he was when he was 16 years old. And why is that? Is because when you are truly a great of an industry, you don't care about how much money you've made. You don't care about how many trophies you've won. You don't care about how much fame you have. Ronaldo is still the hardest working player in the room, despite there being 17-year-olds that are just starting in their career that should be more hungry. He's doing more mobility work. He's focused more on his diet. He's training longer hours than everyone. And he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's got all of the trophies. He's done everything, well, apart from the World Cup. He's done everything in his career that you would need to do. He's wealthy as anyone, more than he can do with. But he's still working harder than everyone else. Why? Because he never did it for the money. He never did it for the trophies. He did it for the process. He wanted to be a great. He wanted to have a legacy, and that meant the day-to-day process he was obsessed with. And we should take a leaf out of that book where, the final barometer of I'm a funded trader now, or I've taken this withdrawal, or I've passed phase 1, or I'm a full-time trader now. These are not the milestones we should judge ourselves on, because that is then allowing ourselves to say, once I achieve this, I can be complacent, right? So outcome is never the way to look at it. It's always the process, and that process is without ignorance. You have to do the same boring work. Now that modifies as your trading career goes on. For example, I'm not backtesting anymore. The reason being is because I've refined myself to certain trading hours of the day. I trade 2 hours of the day. That's my trading windows. I trade 2 currency pairs. And I don't need to look at the rest of the market, to be honest. I'm just deeply immersed in my currency pairs, and I understand their complete tendencies, their nuances, the way that they are. And I follow that deeply and I build a relationship with that pair to the point where I don't need to then do every morning. I need to check the monthly and weekly time frame. I know what's going on. I'm up to date with every candle. So now, to go from good to great trader, what are the 2 things that I would want you to think about today? Now, obviously, there's loads of things that you can think of and loads of things to do. Now, maybe I'll make this a series of ways to think and ways to act to be a great trader. But there's 2 pieces I want to give you today. And the reason I want to give it in this format of talking very candidly and just speaking without an edit, without animations or anything, is because if you're watching this video and you're willing to sit through 20 minutes of me speaking, or maybe even longer, the last video was 40, is because you're taking this seriously and you want to learn from people that have done it. You want to learn from people that are doing this, full-time traders that have been doing this for years. If you've seen my trades, you've seen my Twitter, you've seen my track record, you see what kind of a trader I am and the level of mastery that I have. And I'm not saying that with ignorance or pride. I'm saying that simply for the fact of maybe I'm in a position you want to be in. And to my younger self, I wanted to be in the position that I'm in, and I know the steps that got me here, and I thank my younger self for the sacrifices and the steps he took that were beyond the ordinary. So, number 1, it's inverted thinking. Now, I do this not only in my ways of approaching a problem, but also my ways of looking and tackling issues. 1 second. Yeah, I am recording. So number one is inverted thinking. Now what that means is, when it came to chart work, I noticed that majority of my trades for the last year have been sell positions. Now that could be because the market has been bearish and at certain points more or less has been trending in a certain way, of course. But I just found that majority of my positions were sells, not like 50-50, more like 60-70, at times 80% of my positions were sells. And that can be due to market conditions, but it can also be due to a cognitive bias. I'm better at looking for sell opportunities. I'm better at just the visuals of looking for a sell. I'm more accustomed to it. I've taken more profit from sell positions than buy positions. So it's just something that I'm framed to look for because it's a positive feedback. If I make more profit on sells, I'm more inclined to look for sell opportunities, which isn't always a good thing because that's a predetermined bias, which we shouldn't have. So what I started to do was I'd flip my chart. When it came to looking for a potential buy opportunity, or if I was not in a premium level, if I was not in a sell territory and I couldn't really see a buy, I'd just invert my chart. I'd flip it. And that for me would then allow me to look from my preference, which is the glasses of a seller. I'm better at looking for sells. So if I'm looking for a buy and I flip my chart, now I'm technically looking for a sell because the chart is upside down. And that was one way of inverted thinking. But beyond that, that's very rudimentary. Beyond that is, as humans, we are, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever, we are more looking at threats. It's our predisposition, it's our inclination to look for threats, is to look for problems, is to be ungrateful. As humans, we are God-given, we are ungrateful, which is why we are taught, if you're religious, we are taught to be grateful. We are taught to be thankful for what we have. We are taught to look to people below us, not above us, because if we look to people above us, that only births jealousy, it births insecurity, it births ungratefulness, it births a feeling of inadequacy. But if you look at people below you, people who are not doing as well financially, people that are unhealthy, people that are disabled, people that have calamities in their life, naturally you'll just feel grateful for what you have. You'll feel happiness, you'll feel abundance just by where you look. And that's a thing we have inside of us. We are genuinely ungrateful people, and unless you work to act against that, your natural default is to be ungrateful. Your natural default is to look for problems, is to be pessimistic. And it's a skill to be happy, it's a skill to be optimistic, it's a skill to be grateful, it's a skill to look from a place of abundance, it's a skill to count your blessings. You actively have to do it. If you just sit and allow your natural predisposition to take over, you'll be ungrateful, you'll be selfish, you'll be lazy, and the complete opposite. So, for example, if I'm to ask you, name me 20 problems that you have in your life. If someone asked me, name me 20 things I'm unhappy about, I could throw them right now. Like, I don't like this about my life, I don't like that, I have this problem, I don't like. Easy to do, and you could do it too. If you had to think right now on a piece of paper, write 10 problems you have, you could do it in 2 minutes. Now, if I asked you the same question, write 20 things you're grateful for right now. You would do it, but it'll take you a lot longer. You do the obvious ones. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for this. Then when you get to point number 10, 11, 12, then you really have to think. Why is that? It's because we are wired to look for problems and threats. So when it comes to trading, when it comes to business, when it comes to opportunities, when it comes to life, we will always look at the bad. We will less likely look at the good. Okay, so obviously some people are more pessimistic, some people are more optimistic, but I've just found doing this mental exercise helps, where if I decided, let's say I'm going through a situation in my life where I felt lonely, I didn't have any friends, I was feeling particularly low, I didn't have the best relationship with my people around me, maybe I moved to a new city, so I don't have too many friends, and I've moved away from my family home, and I felt lonely. And I was thinking, man, how am I gonna make friends? How can I get out there? How can I stop feeling lonely? And you would start to feel this ungratefulness. You start to feel the problem. And when you look for solutions, it's hard. It's like, I don't know what to do, man. It's hard to meet people. Should I make friends on Instagram? That's weird. Should I just talk to people in the street? I don't know what to do. And you'll be stuck in a frame of problem and you don't know how to get out of that bubble. Now, when I've been in these situations, I invert it. I start to think, instead of me looking at how can I get out of feeling lonely, I go to the opposite, which is, if I wanted to feel more lonely, if I wanted to be a crappy friend, if I wanted to be a complete person in isolation, what should I do? If my goal is to be the most loner, the most isolated, the most sad person I can think of, what would I do? Then I'll be like, oh, that's easy. I'd have to be very rude to people. I'd have to just sit at home alone. If somebody reached out to me, I'd ignore their message. I wouldn't reach out to anyone. So if I'm seeing someone on Instagram and I'm seeing their story, I'll just ignore them. I won't be like, oh, hey man, that looks cool. Where is that restaurant? Oh, hey man, it looks like you're having a great time. Oh, hey man, happy birthday. I wouldn't actively reach out to people. I'd just stay in isolation. I'd ignore people. I'd just sit at home and watch Netflix. The moment I'm done with work, I'll go directly home. I wouldn't hang around the office. If I'm in the gym, I'll put headphones in and just blank everyone out. I'd know exactly how to be a loner. If I'm in the supermarket, I'll just keep my head down, do what I need to do. If I'm out and about, keep my head down. I'll be a quieter, unpleasant person to be around. I would be, it's very easy to come up with ways to be more of a loner. So then you just think, okay, now I have a list of ways that I can worsen my situation to feel more lonely. So now I can just directly correlate that. If I know that to be a more loner, I just stay in isolation, stay at home. That means to solve it, I need to go out. Now I just need to go out and speak to people in the street. And that seems weird, but it's just simple. I've done it so many times. I'll be out and about, I'll be going getting a coffee, and I'll see someone and be like, hey man, I like your shoes. Literally, I like your shoes. More often it's the watch. I'll be like, hey man, nice watch. Where did you get it from? Start a conversation, maybe it leads to nothing. And for me now, I've reached a point where I feel more awkward. The other day I was at a beach club and I was on a sunbed, and there was a guy also alone. I just took my headphones, I was there alone, I was working. And there was guys a couple beds down, and he was also there alone. And everyone else is with their groups of friends. I'm alone, he's alone. I've acknowledged him, he's acknowledged me for hours. And then I go to the toilet, and he happens to be there too. Now, for me, it was more weird to say nothing. So I went, hey man, how you doing? How's your day going? Started a conversation, had a nice conversation, and then we became friends, let's say. Now, I didn't stay in touch with him, but just the point being, you can start to then find the opposite of what you need to. I know if I want to be more of a loner, I know what to do. So I do the opposite. When I start to do the opposites, then I know that will lead to me being not a loner anymore. Now, for example, if I know on social media, don't respond to people, don't reach out to people, I know that, okay, I do this very often, even in my stage now, where I kind of have a rule where once a day I will send a voice note to someone that I'm not in regular communication with. That would be if I saw someone's story and they're traveling, I'll send them a voice. Hey man, that place looks sick. A long time. Hope all is well. Now I'm cautious not to open conversations because it gets annoying. Then I have to maintain conversation. So I know how to cut it off. I'll send a voice note, just check it in. Hey man, I went to this restaurant, and I know we went there a long time ago. And you came to my mind. Just wanted to say, man, just wanted to say, hope all is well. Been thinking about you, and yeah, man, let's speak soon. And therefore, I know it's cut. So let's speak soon. So I've kind of just said, hey man, thinking about you, hope all is well, speak soon. You do that every single day with someone, bro. When it comes to the time of you need to reach out to someone for help, you're not a stranger. It's not like I haven't spoken to you in 3 years and now you're popping up asking. You maintain. You send love. You send reminders. You check in on people and all of that. And that's how you build relationships and then eventually build friendships. Because then, let's say that guy now flies to Dubai. I'm like, hey man, let's hang out, let's go grab a coffee. Became normal. Anyway, tangent. I do that a lot. Tangents. The point being, when you invert your way of thinking, it's a lot easier to identify how to behave. So now when it came to trading, now I have to decide if I wanted to be the worst trader possible, what would I do? Now I can think of plenty of ways. I wouldn't monitor price action. I would set limits and just forget about it. I wouldn't even look at the market. I wouldn't backtest. I wouldn't journal. I wouldn't go into deep education. I wouldn't review my trades. I wouldn't learn more schools of thoughts. I wouldn't work on my psychology. I would trade from emotion. And you could make a huge list. Now, if that makes you a shitty trader, do the opposite to be a great trader. And that way of inverted thinking is a lot easier than me just saying, hey man, what do you need to do to be a better trader? You might already be thinking, I'm doing all right. I'm doing everything I need to do. Well, if you're doing everything you need to do and you haven't got the results you need, maybe it's because you're not doing the right things. And invert the problem. I don't know what to do. I think I'm doing everything right, but I'm not getting the results. So it means you need to do more. I don't know what more I need to do. Okay, then invert the thinking. Find how would you be worse of a trader, and then do the opposite. Now, a lot of people reach that point and they realize what is the next stage. And I speak about this a lot because I'm passionate about it. People think that being a better trader means more education, means more knowledge. And people think knowledge is information. And the objective of learning is information. And in actuality, that's incorrect. In my opinion, the definition of learning is not information. The objective of learning is not knowing. The objective of learning is mastery. Okay, the objective of learning is mastery. Now let me define that for you. Mastery is the ability to execute, the ability to take action, not knowing, it's action, the ability to take action without uptaking mental resources. Okay, so you kind of, let's say I want to do my shoelace. I don't need to think about it. I can talk to someone, look away and tie my shoelace. I have mastered doing my shoelace. When I realized that mastery is the ability to really do something on an unconscious level, it's unconscious competence, subconscious competence, and it's linked to the ability of action. It's not knowing. So when it comes to somebody in their trading career, they think that, okay, well, I'm not profitable. I haven't mastered the skill of trading and making profit. I haven't mastered being first an analyst and then a trader, which is two different stages. You can be a great analyst, but a crappy trader. That gap is what? It's market IQ, it's market experience, it's psychology. You can be great at backtesting. You can be great at looking at someone's trade and understanding it, but doing it yourself, there's a gap. So first you need to understand how to master being an analyst and then master being a trader. And both of those is not a virtue of knowing. Both of them is not a virtue of knowledge. It's not a virtue of education. It's a virtue of application and action. So if I want to be a better analyst, it's first I need to know, and then I need to know how to apply it to the nuances of day-to-day market. And then if I want to trade it profitably, then there's a whole journey there. And I'll make videos on this because I think it's a very good topic. But when you reach a point of you know a good amount, and I spoke about it in the last video, I wouldn't focus my attention on correlated factors, on strategies that are probabilistic. I'd focus my attention on primary drivers, raw principles of the market, the language of price action, what really moves price action. Then I'd look into those primary drivers, learning first principles, for example, liquidity, daily cycle, timing, lower time frame mechanisms, raw price action in terms of supply and demand and tendencies. There's all these things that I would look into to know the true causation of price action. And then once I've understood good concepts, now I need to know how. Now I have knowledge, now I have information, but that's not the objective of learning. The objective is going out and applying what you know in the market conditions to gain market IQ, to see the variance of day-to-day price action, how to apply what you've learned. Theory on its own is useless. You'll barely be an analyst. To really be a profitable trader, a great trader, you need to close that gap between knowing and doing, or between being an analyst and a profitable trader. You got to close that gap. So inverted thinking is one. The other thing I want to highlight to you, which is a thought that came to me today, which is what kind of a frame from a position of psychology. Psychology is something I used to think was kind of wishy-washy and kind of flimsy, and more the sense of people would scapegoat their issues of, I'm not a profitable trader, it must be my psychology. And then I see their chart work, I see their posts on Instagram, and it's crap. And my favorite hobby is seeing someone on Instagram, seeing them post a winning trade, and just from the winning trade they've posted, I can tell if they're a profitable trader or not. Because if I've seen they've taken a random trade on FOMC and they posted the win because they got a huge move, I know the type of position they took. If it was not logical, if they were not break-even pre-news, I know they're a crappy trader. If I see someone taking a banging trade that is a certain price action type, maybe it played out that day, but I know that kind of price action is only profitable 2 out of 10 times. I know that because I understand price action deeply. I know what are favorable conditions and unfavorable. So when I see someone posting a win that was an unfavorable condition or unfavorable trade, yes, the outcome was a win on that day, but I know they've taken 10 losses trying to emulate that trade. So when you start to understand the market deeply, you start to understand that people then blame their psychology because they didn't master technicals. The example I like to give is like, sure, psychology is important, but it's not the 80-20 thing people say. It's like you got to first, and it's not like which percentage is more, which is more important, psychology or technicals. Both are important. If you're crap at either, you'll be a crap trader. But it's in order. You first got to build your foundation of technicals and then build psychology on top. If you try to build strong psychology and learn and do everything you need to do for psychology on crap technicals, it will collapse. It's like trying to go to the gym and lose weight, and you're doing cardio every day and you're doing everything you need to do in the gym, you're pumping iron, but you have an exclusive Big Mac only meal plan. You only eat Big Macs. Like, what is your plan here? Yeah, you can maybe lose weight if you really master the gym, but you're already like working against it. So if you can first solidify your technicals, psychology becomes easier to work on. especially if you cater your technicals for psychology optimizations. For example, my situation, I trade intra-session volatility. I'm not interested in holding a trade for 200 pips. I'm kind of interested in holding a trade for 50 pips with a 3 pip stop loss. London session volatility takes Asia high, takes a manipulation. Now we've taken a lot of liquidity, tap into supply and shoot for a lower low. That can be happening directly in a London session volatility in 2 hours with momentum, without retracements, because it's grab liquidity, it shoots. I don't need to worry about retracements. I either hit my stop loss within 5 minutes, or within 2 hours I have my 1 to 10. That then doesn't open up so much room for greed and all these things. Okay, I'm going to have feelings of, if price does an inducement and then starts shooting low and I didn't get my lower time frame confirmation entry type, I will feel FOMO. I'll feel like, man, should I jump in, whatever. Of course I can't eradicate emotion, but I can optimize my technicals for emotion. And the reality is, people focus on psychology in the sense of, I need to be away from my emotions. I need to be a robot. The reality is, no, you need to be human. You need to realize emotions are there for a reason. Why are emotions there? Emotions are there to serve you. Every emotion in your body is there to serve you. It's a way we are. There's a threat, there's an issue, and it's there to serve me. This time last year, or just maybe like 13 months ago, I met Andrew Tate. And we were at a dinner with me, Wiley, Alex, a few mutuals, and Andrew Tate was there. And when the discussion came up on, he doesn't believe in depression. And I was like, well, clinically it exists. There's a hormone imbalance. Depression doesn't exist. I was like, how can you say that? He was like, well, I'm not talking about clinical depression. I'm talking about the mental framework of depression, meaning I can sit in depression for 1-2 years and can do nothing about it. It was more, and that's when I understood. It's like, depression is an indicator. If I'm feeling unmotivated and all I do is sit at home, watch TV, scroll through TikTok, of course I feel unmotivated and depressed. It's because I'm not doing anything. I don't have a purpose. I don't have a goal. I don't have nothing to chase. I'm not fulfilled. So when you start taking action, your depression will magically wash away. To realize that your emotions are there to indicate something to you, to make sure that you should do something to change your situation, to go away from a threat. So when you realize that in trading, your emotions are there to serve you, and all you have to do is not suppress them, not go to the gym and meditate and all of that to ignore your emotions. No. My emotions are there to serve me. I need to listen. I need to have awareness of my emotion and think, why is my body, why is my mind telling me that? Everybody tries to solve trading emotions through scapegoats. Let me run away from that emotion. Let me put rules in place so that I can't act on my emotions. If I'm feeling greedy, 1 trade a day max. Okay, well, yeah, that helps, but you haven't acknowledged and recognized and dealt with the emotion. First, recognize where the emotion is coming from. Why is that emotion popping up? Is it childhood trauma? Is it your relationship with money? Is it your outcome chasing? Once you've recognized where the emotion is coming from, when it appears in the market, ask it, why are you bringing this emotion to me now? And then once you're aware, once you know where it's coming from, then you are much better suited to tackle that emotion, to deal with that emotion, as opposed to turn away from it and shun it away, which is obviously the wrong thing to do. So when it comes to trading, the mental framework, or the way I talk to myself when I'm on the market, is this. Have you ever seen like those David Attenborough documentaries, or those like those animal documentaries where you see like one of those deers or gazelles or whatever they're called out in the Sahara, and they're just gently grazing away, and then they hear like the tiniest noise in the corner and they run, they're gone, because they're and then when you see them, like when there's like a lion about to hunt them, the lion is tiptoeing, I guess, into certain proximity, and that gazelle darts away, and then maybe the lion catches up or maybe it escapes. Now, if that gazelle or that deer or whatever it's called didn't have the ability to react instantly, to make a judgment, see a threat, hear a threat, and make an instant reaction with intent, with direct purpose, and run, it would be dead. Meaning, what frame was the gazelle in when it's gently grazing away? When it's grazing away, eating, it's with its friends, whatever, he's relaxed, he's calm, he's eating, he's not in a fight or flight, he's not got adrenaline, he's not panicking, he's just calm. So that's what we need to be in the markets, but that's not quite it, because he's also ready to react, he's alert, he's aware. So in the market, what I need to do to myself, I tell myself, is I can't be calm, I can't be stoic, I can't be away from my emotions, because then when I see a threat, like when I see the lion and I'm just calm and I'm chilling and I'm munching away on a tree, I'm going to get eaten. That threat is going to eat me up. So I don't need to be calm. I need to be calm and stoic, yes, but not exclusively. I need to be calm but aware. I need to be calm but alert. So I'm supposed to be controlling my emotions, but I need to quickly recognize threats. And you see these gazelles, they'll hear a noise, they'll run, and they'll look around, oh, there's no lion, it was just the wind. And then they go back to calm, they go back to eating like nothing happened. And you think, whoa, that was a bit of an overreaction, but they can go from one stage, which is calm, to fight or flight, back to calm in an instant. So let's say I'm calm and I'm alert. That's the way I need to be in the market, calm but alert. And then I see a threat. Let's say price is closely approaching my stop loss. And now I think, okay, let me move my stop loss, and I panic, or maybe I re-enter, or whatever I do. I make a silly decision. I think, no, I'm alert to this threat. I'm calm. I'm not acting rash. I'm calm. I see a threat. I know what action I should take. Therefore, the gazelle running, this is me taking my action. And let's say I hit the stop loss in the end. Okay, threat is over now. I've taken a loss. Okay, threat is over. Back to being calm like the gazelle. I don't ponder on that emotion. I don't think about it. I don't dwell on it, and I don't allow that emotion of taking a loss to hold in my heart, to carry and influence into further situations. Once that I'm calm and alert, I've seen a threat, I've had a problem, I go back to calm and alert. I let go of it as quickly as the threat came. And that framework, I like to literally, I think to myself, a gazelle, and I'm calm but aware. I'm not stoic and away from my emotion. I'm not just calm. I'm calm but alert. And then when I see a threat, I act on it. I act on my emotion. I control my emotion. I'm aware of my emotion. I ask it what's it doing to me. Why is it there? Where is it coming from? Is it serving me? Once I've done that process, if I take a win, I take a loss, whatever, I go back to calm and alert, and I let it go. And that process of letting it go and not holding you is where psychology work really needs to be. It's not in the case of how do you eradicate emotions from your mind, which is surface level solving, in my opinion. You don't go on the symptoms, you go on the cause, you go deeper. And deeper is, how do I manage it? Because these emotions will come. I'm not a robot, I'm not going to get rid of my emotions. So how do I deal with them better? If I take a loss and I have a problem, if I go through a losing streak, how do I bring myself back to calm and alert? Dealing with that process is where psychology work comes in. But yeah, cheers, bro. I rambled again, I ranted again, but hopefully you liked it. And yeah, maybe you took some value. And yeah, I mean, I always say this, but I want you to go ahead and look in the links in the bio, and I won't give a whole tangent on why you should. There's an application there if you want to speak to my team and you want to hear from me, work with me closely. I'm not going to do this whole 500 person, 1,000 person mentorships and huge Discord. I think it's a waste of time. 90% of people are lazy, and I don't want to waste my time on lazy people. I want to work with the best people. I want to work with someone that has an integrity, that will do exactly as I tell them and listen to me and take on every advice I give, even if it doesn't make sense to them, and be hardworking. And I only want to take a few people, but the right people, because I know I can impact their life. So if it sounds like you are someone that can do everything I tell them and really commit to the process, speak to my team, and they will make sure you're a good character fit, make sure I can help you, make sure where you are in your career, what your goal is, etc., etc. And then maybe I'll see you on a more personal, intimate level, and I'll really go through your journal, I'll go through your chart work, I'll go through your strategy, I'll go through your broker statements, and really give you individual help, because I don't want 1,000 members. I want a few members that I know on a personal level. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, find the link, and I'll see you on the other side.